Okay, everyone. So the other day, I had an opportunity to go out and find a couple of families for expansion joints, really nice ones. And I downloaded them and I put them up in Blackboard like I showed you so you guys could see it. One of these is a expansion joint family that mounts to the wall, and it allows freedom for movement of this portion of the slab and this portion of the slab and the building. You see that? So there's some flexibility in there for that. And then this is a floor to floor one. So I just wanted you to kind of see that one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and delete those and I'll show you how I put them in. Okay. So how did I get those going? Well, I'm going to go to my ground floor plan. And when you insert yours, you'll be able to download them. And when I go to component and place a component, I have this um, deck or floor expansion joint. I also have loaded this deck to wall. So if I remember right, I let me bring those back for a minute just so I remember which one I had. I had the 4 to 10-inch deck to wall. That's the one I was using. Okay, so if I go to component, once I've inserted it, then you'll have to insert it in yours, but you know how to do that. Um, there is this deck to wall, and it's the 4 to 10-inch, and I'm going to say that I'm going to have a 6-inch cover plate. Okay, a quarter-inch cover, 6-inch, quarter-inch cover plate, 6-inch wide, quarter-inch thick. Right, and I'm just using that one as a sample. We, in real life, people, we would have to do a calculation in order to determine, based on the materials and the thickness of our slab and some other things, that would determine exactly how large this one would be. But I'm going to grab the 6-inch one. Okay, so I'm going to click there, and once I do that, I'm going to get this little no cross sign. You can't, like Ghostbusters, right? But that's because it's trying to put it on a vertical face there. I have to go up to placement and say place on face, right? And once I click place on face, I'll have this, right? And if I click this, watch what happens. I'm going to go to that view and I'll pull it across there so you can see it. And I'll say go to section 7. And you see how this portion that fastens to my wall um, is pointed the right direction. And I want to make sure I'm on the right work plane too. If I flip that work plane by mistake, see how it flips it upside down? I don't want to do that, but that's what that little symbol will do. It'll flip your work plane on you. All right. So if it happened to come in upside down, you can make it right side up again by using that. You wouldn't have to try and rotate it. So now that that's there, I can go back to my ground plan. And what I'm going to do, and here you're going to see my problem right away. When I click on this, I can stretch it, right? And you see it takes a little time to stretch it. You see how that stretches like that? You pull it, and based on your processor speed, it's going to move either really quickly or really slow. The other thing you could do is you could just say align to here, lock that, and extend that to there, and it just extends it. And then I can move this thing from here all the way over to here. Now, here's the problem, people, with this one. And I think you'll probably see it right away, won't you? I'm going to pull it up to here. Let's see if I get this right. Yeah, it can take a little bit of time depending on your speed, right? So there it is. And there it is. Now my expansion joint's in here. But what's the problem, people? Well, if I go into my lobby, right, and I look at my 3D view, let me see. I'll make a new one. If I go to camera and I pull across here, all right, this deck to wall won't work. Why? Look at this. there's a tripping hazard. I can't use this deck to wall right there, especially since, I can't step over it. So in what situation would we probably want to use this particular um, expansion joint? It might be when we're trying to connect a different portion of a building together, based on our what's the word I'm looking for? Based on uh, the materials we're using, and based on the type of construction. So you can see how when we get in here, this thing is attached to the wall. That's great, but it's blocking my entrance. And I can do a couple of different things here. What probably would not be the best approach to this is to just put a piece of it here and a piece of it here. And you could think about why. It probably wouldn't control the expansion well unless I had it going across the whole joint. I wouldn't just want it here and want it here. So what I can do is I can click on this one and say, okay, that was the one I had before. But if I go down to this miter version of it, and I click on that, you see now it's the one I'm probably going to want. Um, and if you look, I just have the one type there. So I'm going to move this one down to here. And then I am going to hold down shift and my right arrow key, and see I can move that over, and then I can move this to here, right? But let's see if that creates a problem in itself. Let's go back to section 7. So if I go back to section 7, I'm still not necessarily getting what I need. So what's going to happen, people, is what you're thinking. We're going to need a combination of these to probably make this work the way we want it to work. Uh, and because see, here's my one part of my building, here's my other building. And so the whole idea with the separation joint is what? I'm going to pause the video and pull something up so we can look at it from the other day. So if you remember from the other day, everyone, you look and you see that uh, every 250 feet, we've got this separation joint. But when a higher building and a lower building come together, we also need a building separation joint. And this is kind of our situation here. Once we, and think of it too, if you don't remember from the other day, is that this is like separating two different buildings, one from the other, right? And that separation joint's right between them. All right, and so here's an example of what's that looking like. And then here's another example of what that looks like. All right, and then here's what our floor condition will look like in that particular area. And you can kind of see that fire rated portion of it down here, right, on either side. So what we have to figure out is what is going to be the right location of this. All right, and we're going to determine that in the coming days as we get more into detailing. What I want you to do is get this separation joint, get both separation joints in there, because what you might find is that we're going to have a combination of them in this instance. So make sure you download these and get this located, and then when we go back to our final set of detailing, we'll go ahead and determine the exact right location for this and get it placed. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop this video and we'll move on to the next one.